Workshop meeting for Verona Borough Council, Tuesday, September 24th, 2019. Please stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, Mr. Kenna.
President Trabicki Bell.
Here.
Mr. Conti is working this evening, and Dr. Carpenter is in Canada. Ms. Luavo.
Here.
Mr. McCarthy.
Present.
Ms. Provenza.
Here.
Mr. Suchovich.
Sure.
Mayor Recupero.
Here.
And I am also present.
Okay, there are no registered comments from the public, so we'll move right on to comments from the public. On agenda-related items, please approach the podium and clearly state your name and address. Limit your comments to 3 minutes. Okay, Mr. Kenna.
I don't have a ton here. I just wanted to update the board. The 904 grant will be submitted tomorrow. I got the final bit of information from Mike about the last couple questions that I had. We have the clarification, so they'll be submitted tomorrow. The due date is next Monday, so we'll be in plenty of time for that. And then I would like a couple things. So we are working on getting the Civil Service Commission up and running so that we can move forward. We had an issue with people that were involved or that were still on the Civil Service Commission. We haven't hired a full-time police officer since Sergeant Blake, so it's been quite some time. So we actually needed to get some new people on the board so that we can move forward with this. I have 2 letters here, one from John Randis from the Streets Department and one from Mr. Conti. That's probably in front of his desk, requesting appointment to the Civil Service Commission.
AJ doesn't want it?
AJ no longer has an address in Verona. He's living, I don't know where he's living now. He said he still has property here, but he didn't think it was appropriate, and Bobby recused himself because he said he didn't feel comfortable with it, so.
What about Mrs. Sheridan?
She's still good. We talked to her today. She's willing to keep going with it, and she's the head.
Yeah.
So she's gonna stay on.
Very professional too, believe me.
Yeah, she's
dealt
good.
with her for 20 years.
Yeah, so she's still good, but we needed 2 more people so that we could get rolling with this, so that's what we did. So council would need to make a motion to accept those
I'll make
appointments.
that motion to accept Don Conti and John Randis to the Civil Service Commission.
And I'll second. Are there any questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Motion passed.
And then I have Craig asked me to have a motion presented so that we can move forward with this. He said we need to make a motion to take all steps necessary to commence civil service testing, including but not limited to advertising the test and engaging professionals to set up the testing process.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion is read by Mr. Kenna, second by Mr. Suchovich. Are there any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.
And then I just would ask council to have a quick exec session after the meeting. We do not need to come back for personnel.
Oh, thank you. David.
Couple things real quick. Dominic's not here, so Jerry, if you could pass it along to him, well, to the whole board. Riverside Park down there, Riverbank Park, or down by the river. The playground, all the material is ripped apart. The fabric that we put down that keeps the weeds down and what have you, it's all ripped. Somebody's gonna trip over it and get hurt. That definitely needs to be redone by next spring. That's how bad it is.
Is that the stuff under the swings and that?
Yeah, that's all cracked. Somebody's gonna put their foot through that and trip and fall. That's basically all dry rotted,
Are
I
you
guess.
talking vandalism, or is that
No,
just
just
naturally
wear and tear.
deterioration?
Yeah.
We need to shut it down to cover our butts until,
Oh,
That's what I had mentioned last meeting too.
Yeah,
By
you
having
did.
mulch and stuff like that. So, do we do it now or wait till
I
spring?
think you wait till spring.
So my input on that as far as financially.
Yes.
The money's in the budget for this year. So we can put it in the budget for next year, but I'm sure they would also have other things they would like to have the budget for next year. It's budgeted. If we can get a company to come out and do it, I think we ought to just do it.
Okay.
I agree.
I would suggest to do it now because
Just for
the
safety.
things are slowing down. And come springtime, they're going to be starting back up, and all the other communities are going to want, rehabilitate their parks. Mark Ford from, can't think of where he's from, we've done work for him. But anyways, he's basically the one that did it. I think he's probably about the only major one in this area.
Can we talk out later? You can give me his contact information, we can get some numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Matt has his number too.
Matt, pitch?
Yes. Mhm.
Okay, we'll work that out.
do we need to make a motion to do that, or?
To
Yeah.
spend the money.
Yeah.
I'll make that motion to spend the money to refurbish Riverbank Park for safety purposes.
I'll second.
South side.
Okay, motion made by Sandy, second by Mrs. Loalbo. Are there any questions?
I do, Sandy, can we make it both, all parks? Can we make it Burbank and,
That's what was budgeted for,
Yes.
correct?
Okay,
so rather than just Burbank, I would like it.
so we'll make the
Cribs.
motion to refurbish both
Cribs and Riverbank.
Cribs and Riverbank Park. Still second?
Yes.
Are there any other questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Is that everything?
No, I was down there on Saturday, they had their grand opening for their pickleball down there by the park. And I was talking to Jeff Pepper, and he pointed out the gate as you walk in, it's all messed up. It doesn't close. He's afraid somebody's going to run into it while they're playing because it's really sticking way out. It doesn't close, flush. And they had like over 50 people there. It was crowded. And there are 2 benches down there. And I told him I was going to bring up to the board, maybe for, in the springtime, put 2 other benches down there, because both benches were filled, and they basically were in each of the runways, or whatever you want to call it, to the nets. There's one here and there's one here, but they could really use 2 more. I don't know if you guys brought that up when you took a walk down there.
Well, at that time, the pickleball courts weren't there, so,
Right, right.
we can bring it up at our next meeting and maybe budget it for next.
And you could probably even get those, my opinion, I wouldn't go through, these companies. They charge $400 or $500 for a bench. You could go over Isler's probably for $125, get a nice bench, and they can secure it so it doesn't get thrown into the river,
Thanks.
As far as the gate, do we need to get AJ to look at that, or?
Oh, yeah, AJ. I think it just needs adjusted. The hinges are way out. They just need to be, set back in place, loosened up, close the gate, then retighten it, push the hinges back in.
Kid's probably hanging on it.
Yeah, I'm sure. The other thing too is Mrs. Raylia, she has retired from our crossing guard position due to health reasons. And she's been with us for over 23 years. And I'd like to get her a gift certificate from Giant Eagle, and it could come out of the police budget, maybe like a $50, gift certificate for her time served here. If it, that's.
I don't have a problem with
Yeah.
that. Do you have, anybody have a problem with that?
You want a motion? I'll make a
Make that-
motion
I'll
to get a $50, even $75 gift
Yeah.
certificate.
I'll second that.
Look, you want 75?
Do 75, she put a lot of time in.
Yeah, she did.
Yes, she did.
Rain, snow, her health
Right.
hasn't been good in the past years. She was still there on the corner. Those were her
The
kids.
gift certificate for Sorellis.
And she has gone through some bad times. We all have, but she had both a son and daughter that passed away, or just recently,
2 daughters.
in the last 5 years.
Okay, motion on the floor by Mr. McCarthy, second by Mrs. Provenza. Are there any other questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.
And one more thing, last night they had the block watch with the Sheriff's Department Deputy Jason Terup. He does a fantastic job. And he went around the room and got some opinions from everybody. And apparently, and I have seen it, there's a lot of garbage down by the steps over by the cannon there. And one of the residents suggested, why can't Giant Eagle or Getco put a garbage can there? And I said I would look into that. I did call them today to see if they'd be willing to put a couple garbage cans there, and even if they have their name on it, I don't have a problem. And, the borough would just add it into their collection, put in the bag in, and what have you. I mean, everything that is dropped there going up the steps says Getco on there. Wrappers, bottles, the drink cans, from the fountain, it's all Getco. I think was you there yet when they had mentioned that about the steps?
I was, yes.
And so I talked to Casey, and she's going to get back to me on there. I guess they do stuff like that, and I told her we would assume the responsibility of picking the garbage up if they donated the cans. I mean, those cans are $400, $500, $600.
The community group, Luke Maddox is organizing a litter pickup, so maybe that's an area that they need to focus on too.
I think that's on the 19th, wasn't it? October?
Something like that.
Yeah. Is that what it was?
Yes, it is.
And they also talked about a drop-off space. There was a gentleman there that they literally had stereo equipment stolen from their porch. The UPS dropped it off, and he come home and it was gone, right there at First and Center. And they asked about a drop-off space, and I've seen it on TV, because we have the cameras here where it'd be like a designated spot where when people get an order, or even like on Craigslist when they exchange, they come right to the police station in the parking lot, exchange, it's on camera, and I thought that was a very good idea. And the rest of it was just basically, speeders and kids, and they asked about a stop sign at Ridge and First Street coming up. There's no stop sign. And the cars come flying up and go on to Ridge. So I don't know, what the board wants to do. I think we may have to do a traffic study. In the past, we put a stop sign up.
That's what Oakmont does.
Yeah.
Put a stop sign up.
I mean, if you want to challenge it, you're going to lose
Not
it.
enforceable, technically, but.
You want to challenge it, you're going to, exactly, they could give warnings, so that's something that, that would be up to the board coming up Ridge at First Street, because there's one coming down Ridge and First, there's one going on First Street to go either left or right, but nothing coming up the hill. They come flying up the hill and go up the ridge.
As steep as Ridge is, do you think that'd be an issue in the winter?
We could always take the sign down. You know what I mean? I mean, there's communities that do, in fact, I think Oakmont, I can't remember with the Brook Street, they take it down, the stop sign.
So we'll have a seasonal
To
stop sign.
Maryland? Yeah, pretty much. And that's up to the board. I'm just bringing it up. So, and that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Two things, just a reminder here regarding gift cards for Russ Truby for Veterans Day. If you'll make sure you have that gift card here at our October workshop, I suggest putting it inside a thinking of you card or a thank you card, and on the back, where it says to, just put a veteran there, and where it says from, just put councilperson Drabicki Bell from Verona Borough or Low Alba or whoever we are, mayor from Verona.
And how much are these gift cards supposed to be?
Whatever you want to give. I mean, this is coming out of your own pocket, so it could be, you could go down to Giant Eagle and get your fuel perks with it, or do it local with the Verona Village Inn or Freedom Diner or something like that, so $25, I guess. The other thing is, I thought, with Officer Bill not up to snuff here, that it would be really nice, and I've talked with a few people, if we would get together a sunshine basket for him. From council, the mayor, the police department, the street department, office staff, and I'll have a basket here at our next council meeting on October 8th, and just a card with a rub-off in it, or a gift card, or whatever you want to do, a pair of socks, I don't care. We can make this basket for him. The chief will be here and we can just pass the basket off to him. If any residents want to put something in, so that he knows we're thinking about him at least. I know they did that, they used to do it in Riverview School District when teachers were out for prolonged periods of time, and kind of brightens your day up a little bit. And those are the only two things I have. Okay, Mr. Conti's not here. Mr. McCarthy.
Now, Jerry's been working on the civil service stuff and getting the police, and I've been talking with him about that. So that's it. One of the things I had talked to Mr. Conti about before, and he was gonna bring it up, is going up Wildwood, where the traffic lines are, extending the double line, because I've noticed more people are coming down to make the left, and there's gonna be a head-on, because they're coming over further and further. So that, I think he was gonna look into it, a double line going up further, maybe a little bit, making that more of a single lane, so that the traffic coming down the left has more space to come down.
Just gonna have to watch maybe the parking up there. Isn't there parking at them houses?
Now, I'm talking just before that, lower down. They're coming down, and they're coming down pretty good, because a lot of people, that double line makes it.
Things like that.
Right.
And I think he wants to just extend it a little more.
I thought he meant down here.
Yeah,
Okay.
well, that's what you mean, where it kind of kicks.
Yeah, make that straighter, or
I think it should be straighter, probably.
that's what I'm
It's
thinking, is to
kinda-
move it over so that the people that are coming down get a little bit more in the left-hand lane,
Gotcha.
okay?
Yeah, because they see that this is empty here, so they feel like pass the cars up, and meanwhile you got
Gotcha.
cars going this
Right.
way.
Gotcha.
So
Yeah, I've noticed
Don was gonna look into that, so that was all I had. I know he was gonna bring
Follow
up.
up with them tomorrow.
And talking about traffic, just to piggyback off you, Pat, I don't know what's going on with traffic on 3rd, but they're coming down Church and turning and going up a one-way street. It seemed to have started the day of the community yard sale. In fact, I yelled out, "This is a one-way," and they yelled back, "I know." There's also speeding going on. There's a lot of, in the residential section, and we've got a lot of children on that street, just in the 600 block there. They're flying down the street and going the wrong way. And if I could, I'd run fast enough to get license plate numbers, but when I'm sitting out in the porch and I see this car coming, they're already up the street
Is there any
before.
certain times, or is it all the time?
Mostly mornings. So I don't know if they're coming from that direction and trying to head on up to Center Avenue to get down to the light for work. I don't know.
Maybe because the fence is there and it's only one lane, and they're trying to,
Well, I know that, yeah, there seems to be a lot more traffic on 3rd. I'm thinking it is probably because of the deterioration on 2nd.
Right.
So,
They don't want to wait for one car to go by.
right.
We're impatient.
Yeah.
Is that everything, Mr. McCarthy?
Yeah, that's it.
Mr. Suchovich?
Nothing major, still working with Jerry on getting the numbers for the budget.
Mrs. Lalbo?
I have pickleball down. I did stop down to the grand opening. I got there for 9 o'clock, and there was about 18 people there all taking lessons, so I took my little pickleball lesson. It is a really fun sport. It's a very social sport, and they have it really well organized, so if there's a lot of, quite a few people playing, they have a rotation way where everybody will get to play, and, the different ones will sit out and this and that, but it was a lot of fun. Bill Pitzer, I think his last name was, from Gamma Sports, he was there. He gave out his card with a 20% discount for equipment at their facility. He gave the instructions. He is a professional instructor too. He also teaches over at the Lorien West over in Fox Chapel there. So if anybody would like lessons on pickleball, but it was a lot of fun, and it's not real strenuous. You're not running all over, but yet it was a good workout too. It was a perfect morning. And I did get the email where there was about 50 people that did, participate throughout the day there.
That's nice.
Yeah, so it was a good community, and there were people from all over too, not just Verona, from Pittsburgh, across the river, Oakmont, Penn Hills.
Well, I have a customer, I've never heard of this until you brought that up, and I was telling her, and she said, she lives up in Cranberry, she said, you can't even get on their courses, and they have a big course. That's how many people are waiting, so it's very popular.
Yeah, it is, so it was.
Never heard of it until you mentioned it.
So it was good. Another thing I have is the community sign at Cribs on the corner there. Since it was damaged, the vinyl that was on the inside where the letters go in, it is coming out, and I don't know if it can be taken down and fixed. I'm not sure. I was talking with Mike. We were maybe looking into replacing that sign, maybe something with metallic or magnetic letters, something like that, because the letters that we do use, they are very fragile. They break very easily, even as gentle and try to be, and they're expensive too. You purchase that, yeah. So we're looking into, replacing that in some way. So we'll look into that budget at our next meeting and go for it with the rec board and
Sounds
let you
good.
know.
Okay,
All right, that's all I have.
thank you. Mrs. Provenza?
We had 2 events last Thursday. The first one was Chamber of Commerce Mixer, and that was at the Inner Groove. And it was Kevin Ewing and Curtis that put it together, organized it, and I thought they did a very good job. Invitations were sent out to Oakmont, Penn Hills, Plum Borough, Alikiski. And they had a full house there, and it was a very nice opportunity to socialize with one another, share ideas, and meet new chamber members. So that went over very, very well. And also, second event was, we had Historical Society the same evening at 7 o'clock, and Jack Sheehan spoke here. He spoke on uncovering Pittsburgh stories. Yeah, he did a great job. It was also very, very well attended. And next meeting will be Thursday, October 17th, and the speaker is going to be Perry Blatz, and he'll be speaking on pioneers of public history. So you can mark your calendars, and it's a nice event to go to. It's really a lot of information about Pittsburgh and surrounding area. And also, I was at Block Watch last night, as Dave mentioned, and Jason Trapp did a wonderful job. It was probably one of the best speakers I've heard in a long time, and they passed out booklets, which I see we have some here, so anyone that wasn't there last night really should get a booklet. There's a lot of good information in it. He actually wrote the book himself. And I do want to commend, we had Chief Ron McLemore was there, our Mayor Dave Recupero, Janet Luelbo, Ray Suchovich, and thank you for the use of the fire hall, Ray.
Anytime.
It was appreciated. And it was nice to have representation from our officials, so I was very glad to be there. I think it's going to be a good thing with the Block Watch. Last night was a preliminary, and Jason will be back again, and I hope we have another full house. We had a great crowd there, and we'll let you know when we're going to do it again.
It was poor planning because there was another major meeting last night with the school district at Verona Elementary, so that was the reason why I wasn't there.
Okay.
And Dr. Danino did mention that she wished more people would come.
Okay. Also, State Senator Tony DeLuca is going to be doing his yearly 2019 Senior Fair, and this year it's going to be at a new location, and that will be the Greek Orthodox Social Hall at 12 Washington Avenue in Oakmont. And it will go from 10 a.m. till noon, and it's a free health screening, including flu shots, pneumonia shots, and they do ask that people bring their Medicare card with them. And they usually get a very good crowd for that. And since we have an October meeting on the 8th, I wanted to just announce that our community group will have happy hour on Thursday the 10th at the Cider House, and it will be from 6 to 8 p.m. And since I'm on October, I want to say, don't forget our fall cleanup's going to be Saturday, October the 9th, from 10 until 2 p.m. And Thursday, the 17th, is Trail Feasibility Public Meeting, and that'll be at the Penn Hills Borough Building, October 17th, 6:30 to 8:30. Thank you.
Kate, in the last meeting, you had said that the newsletter articles and ads were due in on September 13th, and I was wondering when's the newsletter coming out?
It's going to print right now.
Okay.
Or it's actually at the printers right now.
And what about the policy for the digital billboard? I mean, is there any work on the policy?
I've not seen anything.
No, I've seen nothing on that.
Where is it? I mean, did you meet with Steel City Billboards?
We did.
And did they produce any kind of?
He gave some paperwork, which I turned over to our solicitor, and he said, let me take that, look at it, and then I'll see what I can do with it. Because there were discrepancies on who should pay and who shouldn't.
So are we anticipating that Craig will have something for the business meeting in October?
Yes.
Okay, council will now hear comments from the public on public-related items. Please approach the podium. Clearly state your name and address.
Mike Forbeck, 624 3rd Avenue. Wanted to talk about a little bit about the Parks and Rec. We were having a meeting on the 1st of October, the first Tuesday, and every year we prepare a budget. We've been preparing a budget that include maintenance activities like what you were saying, Mayor. We've organized those maintenance activities in priority type of list to be done according to obviously the priority that we felt. One was the safety of the parks. We're going to do that. We're starting at this October to start for our budget for next year. So Jerry, one of the questions I had was when do you want to see our budget for that?
I would like to have, let me work backwards here. So we need to have, I would like to have some preliminary, when's your next meeting?
October 1st, but we were looking at maybe finalizing something in November.
I would probably like to have some preliminary numbers by the end of October.
Okay.
That would be the better way to go.
All right.
Because I would like to have council, we usually discuss it, discuss everything else. October, November, we have to vote on advertising it by the workshop in November at the latest, because we try to pass it at the regular meeting in December.
They put a good comprehensive list the last time, and I think we could just simply add to that. The ones that we're not going to spend this year immediately, and I'm glad we're going to do the parks, both parks this time. So, all right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Dave Matlin, 722 Bruno. I just wanted to thank council and Jerry for helping with Community Day and the financial support that the borough gave. It was, what, a week and a half ago now. We estimated well over 300 people. It was really well attended, good weather. We got a lot of good feedback from everyone that was there. So I just, on behalf of myself, my wife Jess, and the rest of the planning committee, who includes the mayor, I know he was involved in helping us brainstorm ideas and figure out how to do certain things. So just wanted to say thanks, and we'll look forward to making it great again next year. So
Bigger and better.
Bigger and better, yeah. So if anyone has any feedback on it, or suggestions or anything, if you were, I saw a few of you there, if you have any ideas, we're trying to get the planning committee together to just do like a recap, but we've had trouble scheduling it, but we welcome any feedback that anyone has. So thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, just want to amend one thing. We will be having several vacancies on the board coming up this year, so I just want to emphasize, if anybody knows anybody that's interested, young, old, we like to have a diverse group that's on the rec board. We welcome them. If they want to contact me, contact Janet, contact any of us, we'd appreciate it. Thanks.
Okay, council will now adjourn. Can I have a motion for adjournment to exec session, and we do not need to return.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Mr. Suchovich, second by Mrs. Provenza. Are there any questions? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passed.